Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Tutors Talking. I am your lovely host, as always, Audrey Codner. And we have another. I know I keep saying, like, oh, we have a great tutor. We have a great tutor. Like, trust me, I don't mess around with people that aren't great and achieving and want to do things for not only for you as a parent or you as a tutor, because I got a little something extra special for you, but also to help the kids out. So, I want to introduce you to another great tutor that specializes not in just the math. She could do a little math. She's been doing it before, but she's really good at reading, especially for your elementary school kiddos. So I would like to introduce to you Miss Sheryl Uehling. I'm going to bring to the stage. Hello, Sheryl. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm great. Thanks
Welcome.
for hosting. This is just lovely. Thank you.
Yes, you did me before. Now I'm going to do you.
Yay! How about that?
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I actually live in the state of Nebraska in a very rural area. I taught public school for 32 years as a fifth grade teacher. And towards the end of kind of right in the middle of the pandemic, I was helping my nieces with their needs. They lived in Colorado, and I said, yeah, I can help you. So we did some Zoom. I was helping support one in math and one in reading. And then I was continued to teach, and all through, my school only went virtual for just a few months, just the end of that first year. And then we had everybody in person, but I set everything up virtually in case I had students that were ill. And that just kind of made me think, I think I can help other kids. So I applied and received a position at a national tutoring chain here in the United States. Pretty much took any kind of a student. And a lot of it was homework help. And I was happy to do it, but found that I was spending a lot of time, prepping for those classes. And I was only getting paid $15 an hour, after having taught the whole day. And I kind of thought, oh, that should be okay, because, if you take the number of students that I have and you divide it by that and think about how many hours I'm working, we play these mental games as teachers and we justify low pay. And I really had to wrap my head around that and think, for the amount of time I'm putting in, I think I can do this myself. And I had to figure out, what was that going to look like? And I knew I could do it because the company I worked for provided me with a whiteboard, and they funneled children to me. And but they didn't really give me a lot of the tools. They maybe gave me some practice problems, but not a curriculum or anything. And sometimes I was just like struggling to find things to work with these kids because they were all across the United States. I had taught all day. I was already tired. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. So I was nearing the end of my teaching career and thinking, I think this might be a good year for me to step out of the classroom because behaviors were crazy. I was just like, I can no longer do this. I mean, I was struggling to get out of bed to go to work, but really looking forward to my tutoring lessons. Like I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I get to work with so-and-so today. We're going to do this, because there was joy in that. There was joy. The kids were excited. The parents were appreciative. I had kind of free license on what I could pick and choose from. And I just really wanted that again. I felt like that had kind of vanished from my teaching job. And so I set out to figure out how to do this. And when I started my tutoring job, I was meeting kids in person. And after that first about 6 months, I moved everybody to online because, except for one family, they had some real needs physically with the kids. And so I went to their house, but everybody else I moved online. And since then I've met online unless the kids want to come to see me. My beginning focus was math. But I had so many kids asking me for reading help that I am now specializing in reading. I still have a few students in math, but it's just really taken off, and it's just been incredible. I am married and I have 3 grown children, and our youngest is in college, and the money that I make helps to pay for her tuition and, pay some of our bills. I mean, like, it's really incredible what you can do when you're given the task. And I've had as many as 21 students, but not as many right now. So kind of backed off. I've niched way down, and I'm okay with that. So
Yes.
that's kind of been my journey.
That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so interesting that
Mm-hmm.
what kind of sparked it was like, look, this is not working. And
Mhm.
you had to step out and make a decision like, all right, I know I can do it. And it just seems like a lot of teachers, because I'm keep seeing it, are very like, I'm tired. I'm tired of the foolishness. And like, I remember going into teaching, I was energetic. I wanted to
Mhm.
do different activities. I wanted to do more with the kids. And then after like 3 or 4 years, you get that fifth year slump.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I just got to soldier on. And then it becomes a habit.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, when it's time to make adjustment, because your breaking point, everyone does. And then you're like, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And just by you making that transition, but you're still able to help kids. A lot of
Yeah.
people say, well, I don't want to leave the kids. Well, you have this one particular class, but now you got kids not only in Nebraska,
Oh
you
yeah.
can have kids all over
I
the
have them all
place.
over. Yeah. Yeah. And
It's good.
I think it's just so cool to just know that you can take a step out. But Audrey, I've been to enough of your coaching things. You really empower people to take that step, and okay, you can do it afraid. Yeah, you're absolutely, and it is kind of a fearful moment. But if you just take a step back and really say, I just use so much positive self-talk, I can totally do this. I am an intelligent woman. I have 2 degrees. I have my undergraduate and my master's. If I can do that, raise a family, be in a classroom full of children, make all those minute to minute decisions. If you work that hard on your business, there's
Mhm.
no you're going to be successful. There's
It's
just no getting past it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So before we get down a little bit
Yeah.
more with the
Yeah.
nitty gritty, if you guys are watching it live, hit hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay because it helps with the algorithm. And at the same time, go ahead and put something in the chat. Do not be afraid. I do not bite. And plus, if I did, I won't be able to reach it. It's called the internet, people. Let's go. All right. So let's dig a little bit more with the tutoring
Hmm.
because there is
Hmm.
another piece that we're going to talk about later. And I want you guys to stick around so you can see the whole experience, get the whole Cheryl experience. So, when you're tutoring, and like we
Hmm.
said, you have two kids, sometimes you have some people that come because you live in an area where you have a place where people can come that's separate from your homes.
I
Because I know
do.
some people are
Hmm.
like, oh, well, how do they come to you? But she has like a separate building
I do.
where she can actually do tutoring and have the
Mhm.
parents come in, which I love, to make sure that you're covered, you
Yeah.
have your insurance, you make sure
Do.
everything is on the up and up because,
Hmm.
there's some people out there that's a little cray cray. So
Hmm.
we have to be realistic. Okay. But when you're doing these tutoring, what are some of the things that you're noticing in your sessions? You did kind of mention what made you make the transition, but what are some things now that you're in the flow of tutoring that you're seeing in your sessions?
I think the first thing is that parents come to me with a concern, and I address that concern. But sometimes their concern isn't really where it's at. And I think by doing the initial assessment, because they do a free assessment with all of my students, I think by doing that initial assessment and really focusing in on what the student actually needs, the parents get this look of surprise, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they're making such great strides in the classroom. But that's because I'm focusing in on what they need. And I think sometimes I see people posting in Facebook groups, and not necessarily just yours, but just in general, the groups that I'm in, like, how do I run a class for students, or how do I do this? And I'm like, seriously, you have to look at where the student is, and you cannot, like, okay, I'm going to give you an example. Okay. I've got a fourth grader who is not reading at a fourth grade level. And this is a student I've just started with. Okay. But this is a pattern that just repeats itself all of the time. Okay. So the
Mhm.
parent comes to me and they're like, yeah, they're just not doing very well. They might be on an IEP or a 504 plan. That's teacher talk, people, but they're getting support at school. And they're like, yeah, they just get stuck. And I'm like, okay, well, it could be they don't know how to decode, they don't know vocabulary, maybe their comprehension is low. But then I go through and I do my assessment and I find out they don't know all the sounds of the alphabet. They don't
Mm.
know like vowel teams, like what does the EA say? What does the OO say? They don't know. They miss letters at the end of words. Like if you're going to make a plural word and add an S, they don't say the S when they're reading. And all of that comes down to the fact that they don't have good phonemic awareness, and they need to. I just back them way up to the phonics portion of it. So that's one thing that I see. The other thing that I see, and this is just so crucial, that if parents will put in the work at home and follow the directions that they're told, because I'm working with a younger population than what you are. You're working with those high school, college students, but I'm sure you find the same thing, that
Oh, yeah.
if they're consistent, they show up consistently, okay? And it's not like a hit and miss thing. And if they do anything else that I encourage them to do, they see just this huge explosion of knowledge with their child, their confidence increases, and they start to do better in the classroom, and their grades raise. So, and I know it's not all about grades, but the grades are simply a reflection of what the teacher is seeing in the classroom. And so we have to really still look at that.
Mhm.
Whatever information you're getting from the teacher, we have to still look at that. Now, I don't always get to see that, but that does play a crucial part. So those are probably the things that I'm seeing with students and with parents.
Yes, because I see that as well, especially with my math kids. And like you said, yeah, I do have older, the high school, middle high school, and even adults. But even if I just look at the high schoolers, I know a lot of parents like, okay, you're older, you should be able to do your own thing, but they still need support. They still need to know that you're still around.
Right.
They still need to know that um I'm not going to do the homework for you, but I'm just like, look, what do you need? Okay, explain to me how you did this problem, or just small things like, what did you do today? And I know high schoolers, they'll just be like one word sentence, fine, good. Like, all right, we're back to caveman. I need for you to start talking and conversing. Do you have a paper that's coming up? I saw you studying a little bit extra. There was a test, like it looked like math. I don't know, it looked kind of crazy to me, but talk to me through it. And just for them to learn to explain themselves, you're giving the kids more knowledge, because not only they have to memorize and understand, but if they can explain it, they can do it. It
Yeah.
really solidifies what's going on.
Yeah. And
Now,
I agree with you with my math students. I if they can't teach me the steps that it takes to do the problem, I don't feel like they have it. So I have to have like a little exit ticket. Like, hey, show me what you know. Be able to communicate to me what you understand and show me. So that's
right,
where those digital whiteboards are. They're just great. Having that,
right.
can write on it.
And you can also ask, like, 'cause sometimes the tutors have it, and some parents don't ask, like, "Oh, can I have a copy of it so when I do things with my
Mhm.
child, can I, like, follow
Yeah.
along?" Not a
Yeah.
problem. I always have extra copies. I can share it with you, not a problem.
Mhm.
But also, this is one other thing that I wanna say, like, what do you think makes you unique? I've heard a few things, but I kinda wanna hear from you. Like, what do you think makes you unique as a tutor?
As a tutor, I think I really hone in on what the student needs. And I am so much about building relationships. I am out in my community. I am kind of a service person. So I go out and I attend events, I network with families. They know that I'm a caring person. I like right now, something fun for my students to kind of just switch things up a little bit. I'm having a contest. So they're reading a story, they're writing a summary, they're illustrating it. I'm going to throw that out there on social media. Ask people to vote on their favorite. It's not necessarily the picture, but does the picture match the summary? Does this make sense? Along with the title, pick your favorite one. And the winner, and not all my students are participating. I'm kind of like pulling teeth to get them. I'm hoping to get 5 out of all of them. So I'll be lucky if I get that many. But for the kids that participate, it's another audience for them, so that it's not just always, what does my teacher see? What do my parents see? But other people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, hey, that's really awesome. Just utilizing a shared document, teaching the kids that I am working with that we're sharing a document, you're typing on it. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to take a picture of that. We're going to insert it, and just using those tools that they're already using in the classroom, but maybe don't realize that they can be super effective with them. I think those things kind of make me stand out above the rest. So I don't
I
know.
mean, I love the fact that, okay, remember, we're in Nebraska. So lots of open spaces,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I love that because if you ever look at her Facebook, and I'm going to share the Facebook and or Instagram, she's always doing something with her community. Like she'll go to,
Right.
like, Halloween was one big thing. I loved when you dressed up as Dr. Seuss, the cat. That was cute. But you also go to your local schools or you go to
Hmm.
your surrounding schools
Hmm.
and you introduce yourself
Yeah.
and you give them small gifts and things, and just to really get them excited about, like, oh, well, tutoring doesn't have to be so rigid. You try to make it fun. The mere fact that you're doing a small contest, a lot of the kids, yeah, once they get used to, like, oh, this lady does like a lot of fun things, and they're going to be like, you know what, I do need help with reading, but I also
Hmm.
can have fun at the same time. And before you know it, time is up for the session to be over, and some of the kids want to keep talking. Like, I had a couple last night. I'm like, I got another person. you're,
Yes.
you're, you're still talking, I love you, but I gotta keep it moving.
And another thing that I think I do, and I know many tutors do this too, but I will always end with a game. I mean, I want them to have something to look forward to. They're going to work hard. And my session's only a half hour long, and I meet with some of my students 2 to 3 times a week because they've had a full day. You have to really consider the age of the students that I work with. K through 5. My fifth graders could probably go longer, but because that's the way I have my schedule set up, it is just a half hour. So we do 25 minutes of like, this is our power time together. Now we're going to take that 5 minutes and apply it to a game and just making it fun for them.
That's
They need to have
awesome.
something to look forward to.
That's true. And plus, like, you're an addition to their family. So, I mean, you don't want to be that annoying aunt. You want to be that, I'm the fun aunt.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So now we got some upcoming attractions. So now you can kind of tell us, like, switch the hat from tutoring to an extension to your tutoring business. What's your next step now?
Well, this week, and this is, I mean, like, this is hot off the press. I just opened up an Instagram page and a Facebook page um, for coaching technology with tutors. So I think I called, it was like Tutor Tech Innovate. And then you have to rename it with another name. And I said Tech Coach for Tutors, because you support tutors like, hey, how are you going to niche down? How are you going to, share this with other people? What is your lesson going to look like? That's not what my niche is. My niche is, all right, now you've got this business. How are we going to streamline your lessons? I'm not going to tell you how to teach your lesson, but I'm going to give you some suggestions. Are you using Canva? Are you using Google Classroom? What are you using to kind of house things? So in the event that you want to take off and go to the grocery store and you get stuck in traffic, you pull over to the side and it's on your phone. Open it up, boom, boom, boom. You front loaded it and it's ready to go. You don't have to cancel that lesson. You still have something in the background. Some people might maybe use that as like their alternative plan, but I don't. I mean, like, I front load all that stuff. Any permanent links that my students are using, I referred to the Google documents that they were using. Those are shared. How do you maximize that? Even with the billing, I mean, some people use something like Tutorbird, which I do, but I've also done it my own way, where I've done my own. What do you call them? I can't even come up with invoice. There we go. There we
Voices?
go.
Okay.
I need more coffee.
There we
Um, and it is coffee, but it has foam on the top.
Hey, I got you.
So so, how do you create an invoice and how do you download it as a PDF and how do you send it off? I mean, some people literally don't know how to do that. And I think, we talk about being afraid of making the change, but sometimes we just don't. We know the teaching part. We know that.
Right.
You know how are you going to teach them how to niche down? How are you going to help them market it? How are you going to help them run their, make all those business decisions? But within the business, how do you get all those little pieces to work? How do you send out a mass email? How do you add a signature to your email? How do you well, even with YouTube yesterday, and you were coaching me, and I've had 2 Google certifications, and I couldn't figure out how to add my timestamps to the YouTube. And I was like, I knew that, but I hadn't done it like for forever. I didn't have a purpose for doing it before,
Right.
and because we were collaborating on something, we needed that. So, just thinking about how do you efficiently run your business? And so what I'm offering a monthly freebie where people can just hop in and join me for just a free video chat, very similar to this. But I'm going to run it through Google Meet because I'm a Google person. And my very first one is just an overview of the Google products. And then I will really be focusing in on like Google Classroom and all of the functionality that you can use to run your business smoothly. And again, I'm not going to teach you how to teach. That's not my job, but to help you run your business smoothly.
I love that. I love that. And I know that's something that a lot of people always ask. Like for me, they're like, how do I post? Like for me, it's always like the social media part. Like, how do I post? How do I put the video on my Facebook group and all this other stuff? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And that's not really where I'm going.
Right.
That's not, I don't want to do the marketing part. That's you. You can do that.
That'll be me.
I don't want to do that.
Just like I had to take that.
Yeah.
But it is because, like you said, we know how to teach, especially if you've been teaching for a long time. If you've been doing that, if you're one of those 30 years, you were there, you just retired, and now you have to almost relearn. Like you still like rediscovering your desire to teach, but now you have to learn it in a different way. And some people want to do it, and some people are like, okay, I got to do it. And that's awesome.
And I think a lot of people were exposed to some of this, but didn't actually use it when the pandemic hit because maybe somebody in their department took over, or maybe the lead teacher did it, and they just kind of sat back and kept going, how do they make this work? Like, how do you do this? And it's really not anything to be afraid of. Trust me, if I can do it, I mean, I'm older than you are, Audrey, and we're both in our lovely.
We're both lovely ages. Seasoned.
We're both in our middle ages. If we can do this, anybody can do this. That's and I think, again, it comes down to a belief in yourself and a knowledge that, you know, you're always learning. Like my tagline on the end of my podcast is keep the learning going, because I believe that myself. I need to keep the learning going. So don't give up on yourself, friends, because there's a lot left in you.
That's awesome. So if anything, if you do want to reach out to her, so let's go with the tutoring one. So here is her website. So we have midwesttutor.com. It's just the home, second page of the home. So just in case you're like, oh, just went to the first one, go to the second page. It'll give you more of the details for the tutoring. The first page gives you some blogs. If you want to learn a little bit more of what details she does, you can go there. Another place will be the email, which as soon as I can get that bad boy out there we go. So if you want to reach her directly, you can definitely email her as well. And just check out a lot of the social medias. Just see what she's going about. Like, if you love what's going on here, just imagine when you're actually working with her. So, I mean, here's the Facebook. We have an Instagram. We have it all. It's like
I'm all over the place. Yep. I'm all over the place.
But that's good because you never know, you know, one day I'm just like this. One day 1 second I'm on Facebook. I'm saying one day. What am I talking about? 1 second I'm on Facebook. The next second I'm on Instagram. Then I'm on LinkedIn. And then we're, you know, once in a while do a little dib dab with TikTok. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here.
Because, I love what you do on your videos, especially the one where you turned around. It's so sweet. So
like, hi.
Follow Audrey for all of that, because she's the person to help you with your marketing for sure. If you want to just laugh at stuff, you can look at my stuff because it's like, what is she doing?
But then you have all these other great characters that it really attracts the eye. So if you do want to, go ahead and reach out. I mean, if your child especially needs a tutor, especially for reading, because trust me, that pandemic gap is a real thing. So we're still recovering from that. So if you think, oh yeah, my kid's in school now, that doesn't mean anything, because a lot of districts, they basically started right where they should have left off. And there's a lot of that foundational piece that's missing, as you mentioned with the phonics. So if you know your child is struggling with reading, and if you know that there's something up, they don't want to read, they're not feeling inspired, and you want someone that's going to be fun and innovative, go ahead, give Sheryl a call. I mean, I don't know, stop it. But if you are a tutor and you just want to have a home to go to, something that's going to give you some resources, a place where you can ask your questions and actually get a real answer. I have my Facebook group, which is From the Classroom to Online Tutoring. It's a virtual community. So, where you can come, you can ask your question. I know a lot of people will say, well, how do I start? Or where do I get my clients? But it's a little bit deeper than that because, okay, you can get a client, but if you don't have a name for your business, we need to back up. So those are like some of the essentials. We have a couple events that's in there, and I'm working on another event to help those people to work on their decisions and be able to expand. So that's coming soon. But in order for you to get all this information, you gotta join the group. All right. So Cheryl, thank you so much for coming in.
Hey,
I
thanks for
greatly
having me.
appreciate
It's just been
this.
wonderful, and I'm so excited about continuing to collaborate with you. I think great things
Yes.
are happening.
Yes, and we're gonna have like a seasonal thing. Oh my goodness, there's so much, so much. So I need to get off so I can like continue to do some more work
That's
and be
exactly right.
able to promote more tutors as well. Because this is not the end all be all. I'm going to have like several others, some English, some Spanish, some math, and actually some couple repeat people as well. So
Wonderful.
trust me, it's starting to fill up. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate you. And no matter what, just continue to stay awesome. All right. See you guys next week. Bye now.